911, where is your emergency?
Send the police! He's killing my friend! My chimpanzee! He ripped her face off! Hurry!
That was the sound of a nightmare made real. The sound of a 14-year bond between a woman and her beloved animal, shattering in a storm of unimaginable violence. The chimpanzee she was screaming about wasn't just a pet. He was a local celebrity, an animal actor who had appeared in television commercials, who drank wine from a stemmed glass, who dressed in human clothes, and who slept in the same bed as his owner. His name was Travis, and the friend he was mauling to death was a woman who had known him his entire life. To understand how a beloved animal companion could become the monster in that 911 call, we have to go back. We have to uncover the dark family secret of his upbringing, the years of warning signs that were ignored, and the single trivial event that finally unleashed the 200-pound primal beast that was hiding in plain sight all along. Travis was not born in a quiet Connecticut home. He was born in Missouri, at a compound dedicated to breeding apes for entertainment. In 1995, when he was just 3 days old, he was taken from his mother and sold for $50,000 to a lonely, childless couple named Sandra and Jerome Harold. From that moment on, Travis was not raised as an animal. He was raised as their son. The Harolds taught him to wear clothes, to use a key to open doors, to eat at the dinner table with them. He brushed his teeth with them. He bathed with them. He learned to log on to their computer, to look at pictures. He developed a love for ice cream and learned to anticipate the route of the local ice cream truck. His favorite drink was wine, which Sandra would serve him in a stemmed glass. He was a beloved fixture in their small town of Stamford, Connecticut. Neighbors would see him driving the family car, although Jerome was always in the passenger seat, ready to take the wheel. He appeared in television commercials for Coca-Cola and Old Navy. He was, by all accounts, a happy, well-adjusted, and completely humanized chimpanzee. But a chimpanzee is not a human. Beneath the clothes and the learned behaviors, a wild animal still exists. An animal with immense, terrifying strength. An adult male chimpanzee is estimated to be 5 to 8 times stronger than a human male. They are intelligent, emotional, and capable of complex social interactions. But when they are threatened, or when their complex social hierarchy is disrupted, they are capable of shocking, brutal violence. The first cracks in Travis's idyllic life began to appear. In 2000, Jerome Harold died of cancer. A year later, the Harolds' only other child, their adopted human daughter, was killed in a car accident. Suddenly, it was just Sandra and Travis, alone in their house, bound together by a shared, profound grief. Sandra's devotion to Travis deepened. He was all she had left. She slept with him, bathed with him, and catered to his every whim. She was his mother, and he was her son. But as Travis grew into adulthood, his behavior began to change. In 2003 came the first major public incident. While riding in the car with Sandra, another driver threw something at their vehicle. Travis, unbuckled in the passenger seat, became enraged. He opened the car door, jumped out, and began chasing the other car. For 2 hours, he terrorized downtown Stamford, eluding police, climbing on top of vehicles, and snarling at anyone who came close. The police, armed with tranquilizer guns, had to corner him. The incident ended only when Travis, tired and agitated, returned to the family car on his own. This should have been the end of Travis's life in a human home, but Sandra pleaded with authorities. She insisted he was just a scared child who meant no harm. Incredibly, the charges were dropped, and he was allowed to return home with her. The state of Connecticut had no laws at the time regarding the ownership of such a large, dangerous primate. The incident was filed away, a warning sign completely ignored. Sandra, perhaps sensing Travis's growing agitation, began to medicate him. She started adding Xanax, an anti-anxiety drug, to his daily cup of tea. She believed it would calm him, but Xanax can have a paradoxical effect in some individuals, including primates, leading not to calmness, but to disorientation, aggression, and psychosis. She was feeding her 200-pound, immensely powerful son a drug that was turning him into a ticking time bomb. On February 16, 2009, Sandra Harold's friend, a 55-year-old woman named Charla Nash, came to visit. Charla had known Travis his entire life, but on this day, she had a new hairstyle and was driving a different car. When Travis came to the door, he saw a woman who was familiar, but different. To make matters worse, Charlo was holding one of Travis's favorite toys, a Tickle Me Elmo doll. Just before she arrived, Sandra had given Travis a cup of tea laced with Xanax. The combination of these factors, the unfamiliar appearance of his friend, the possession of his favorite toy, and the disorienting effects of the drug, created a perfect storm in Travis's mind. The humanized son vanished, and the wild, territorial, and confused chimpanzee took over. He lunged at Charla Nash. What followed was one of the most savage and brutal animal attacks ever recorded. Travis, in a state of psychotic rage, began to systematically and deliberately destroy her. He tore at her with his teeth and his powerful hands. He ripped off her nose, her ears, her eyelids, and her lips. He completely tore her hands from her body. Sandra Harold, in a desperate attempt to save her friend, grabbed a butcher knife and stabbed Travis repeatedly. She later told police, "I had to. He was eating her." The knife seemed to have no effect. She then grabbed a shovel and beat him with it. He simply looked at her as if confused and continued his vicious assault. That is when she ran to her room, locked the door, and made that now infamous 911 call. When the police arrived, they were confronted with a scene from a horror film. The walls and floors of the home were covered in blood. Travis, now calm, met them at the door of their patrol car. He looked at the officer, opened the car door, and then showed his blood-covered teeth. The officer had no choice. He shot the chimpanzee several times. Travis, mortally wounded, staggered back into the house. He made his way to his bedroom, opened the door, and died on his bed, the place where he had slept every night of his life. Charla Nash miraculously survived. She was rushed to the hospital, where she would undergo more than 30 hours of surgery. She was left blind and horrifically disfigured. Her life was changed forever. Years later, she would receive a full face transplant in a groundbreaking procedure. Sandra Harold, the woman who had loved Travis like a son, died of a ruptured aortic aneurysm just over a year after the attack. A woman broken by her own tragic choices. The story of Travis is a terrifying exploration of a dark family secret. The secret was not a single event, but a fundamental lie. The lie that a wild animal, no matter how loved, can ever truly be tamed. Sandra Harold's love for Travis was real. But it was a selfish love that blinded her to the danger she was creating. A danger that ultimately destroyed everything she cared about and condemned her friend to a life of unimaginable suffering. This story is a chilling reminder that some lines should never be crossed. Nature has an order, a power that we can never truly control. And when we try to force a wild animal into our world to make it one of us, we are not creating a family. We are just building a cage. And sometimes, the monster isn't the animal inside the cage. It's the person who locked the door. The case of Travis the Chimpanzee raises profound questions about animal ownership and responsibility. What are your thoughts on this tragic story? Share them respectfully in the comments below. And if you appreciate these deep dives into true, chilling events, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content that explores the darkness. Thank you for watching.
Prince of